Dr. Hughes, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for joining us to this very important and enjoyable evening. I am holding, from time to time, the conferment ceremony of Japanese decoration on behalf of the Japanese Emperor. The decoration comes from the Emperor, by the way, so that Dr. Hughes will remember that. Because of this high order, many of these events are conducted in a ceremonial fashion according to protocol. That tends to be a bit dull. But this evening, we are conferring the order of Rising Sun Gold Raised with Rosette to Dr. David Hughes, who has promoted Japanese folk music around the world. And what is folk? Is it different from other music? Well, I need to be informed by Dr. Hughes himself, but I understand that it is people's culture, down to earth, grassroots, whatever word you use, it's more popular people, down to earth music that connects people to people, which is the most important way we ensure that we make friends, learn each other, and therefore make the world a more peaceful place where we can enjoy living in a prosperous environment. And this is the reason the ceremony today is much more handmade and is being suggested and directed, in fact, by Dr. Hughes himself. Not many decoration receivers do that. Of course, the mastercraft and the artistic talent of Dr. Hughes allowed us to transform this quite formal setting into a more informal, more friendly, and more people-related event. Now, I need to go through the major achievements that led the Japanese government and the Emperor to award Dr. Hughes with this honor. Although I know that many of you, some of you have traveled long distance just to be with us this evening. You know much better than I do of the great achievements of Dr. Hughes, with the help of Mrs. Hughes, of course, but also you also know him very well in person. So it's a bit of a ceremony. Now you have to bear with me the next 30 seconds. It won't be too long. Now, Dr. Hughes has played a notable role in promoting the understanding of traditional Japanese music, particularly folk music. We call it minyo in Japan, and he's done it in the UK. He has organized over 200 performances and has been at the forefront of teaching and performing Japanese music, alongside his significant academic achievements in the field that he has chosen. The event today, as I said, is quite unique, and I can assure you that you will be enjoying actual performance that led him to receive the award. And therefore, I don't have to give you many words on that, because listening to the music will immediately tell you why he deserves the order of the Rising Sun. Now, there was, to be more specific, what we are enjoying tonight is the special performance of Mio and Okinawa's time-honored A-star. And this will be done by Dr. Hughes himself and the core members of the grassroots group he has created and led. As I know that everyone here is actually a friend of Dr. Hughes and already knows all of this, I will refrain from going into detail. From 1987 until his retirement in 2008, Dr. Hughes taught music at SOAS. where he is now a research associate of Department of Music and the Japan Research Center. We are grateful. We have many friends from SOAS attending this event tonight. Throughout his extensive career, Dr. Hughes has published a wealth of literature in Japanese and English on traditional Japanese folk music. We were just talking in Japanese up till now, but because there may be some people who don't quite understand Japanese, I decided that I will speak in English for just this time, but Dr. and Mrs. Hughes are totally fluent in Japanese. Now, the book that Dr. Hughes has written, Traditional Folk Song in Modern Japan, Sources, Sentiment, and Society, is arguably Dr. Hughes' most significant contribution to the study of traditional Japanese folk music and marks the culmination of his 30-year academic career specializing in this subject. More importantly, alongside such academic contribution, Dr. Hughes has been a key figure in promoting Japanese traditional art forms to the wider public in the UK. He founded 3 groups which continue to this day: the SOAS Minyo Group, the London Okinawa Sanshinkai, and the SOAS No Group. These groups successfully contributed to some key iconic events, including the 1991 Japan Festival and Japan 2001, as well as to Japan Matsuri in recent years. I may just inform you that from 2019 to 2020, we will be hosting what we call the Season of Culture in UK. This will be the Japanese Season of Culture in UK, whereas there will be a UK Season of Culture in Japan at the same time. This coincides with the opening of the Rugby World Cup in Japan and concluding with the closing ceremonies of Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics in 2020. So we are expecting that there will be many Japan-related events, festivals, performances during the whole year from 2019 to 2020 autumn. And we are counting on Dr. Hughes and the 3 groups that he's created to contribute to that most important year. Now, it is no exaggeration for me to say that the exposure to the Japanese music or performance conducted and directed by Dr. Hughes has been extensively around this country. And he has immersed himself in Japanese traditional music for over 4 decades, both academically and socially, including 10 years of actually living in Japan and studying the local traditions and art form. No one can match his immense experience and expertise when it comes to the field of Minyo. I come to London and I learn more about Japan from people who have been studying Japan, although they are not Japanese. So Dr. Hughes is another one of the people who is more knowledgeable about Japan than I am. So it's always good to learn more. So 45 years since his first encounter with Japanese music, I understand, via an LP record he came across in the University of Michigan Library in 1973. I'm delighted to honor Dr. Hughes and his exemplary contribution to promoting cultural exchange and mutual understanding between our 2 countries. Congratulations, Dr. David Hughes. This is the official certificate, and it is
Nihongo desu.
Nihongo. It is in Japanese because this is a Japanese decoration. And in Japan, official documents are written in Japanese. So I will read the Japanese and then I'll give you a translation later. 日本国天皇は英国人デイビッド・ヒューズに旭日小綬章を贈与する。 皇居において行事をさせる。平成29年11月3日、内閣総理大臣安倍晋三。And we have the insignia of the Japanese emperor in the middle. Just get it. Let me give you the translation. It is the patent of decoration. The Emperor of Japan does hereby confer upon Dr. David Hughes, British, the Order of the Rising Sun, gold raised with rosette. In witness thereof, the seal of state has been affixed to these presents at the Imperial Palace. Congratulations, Dr. Hughes. It's not very common that the two of us are wearing the same. I decided to wear it because Dr. Hughes informed me that he will be wearing the Japanese kimono. Because if I were wearing Western suit, people will misunderstand this ceremony as the decoration instead of Dr. Hughes. So I have to make certain that I also wear the Japanese kimono. Thank you.
So, oh, now it's now. Let's see that thing is still there. Okay, thank you all. One more time with this. Okay, just a little higher. Okay. Well. First of all, you can imagine how both embarrassed and honored I am. And I'm just delighted to see so many of you here. And I want to thank the ambassador, who has such a wonderful sense of humor, who really makes this occasion the comfortable type of event that I would like. So thank you so much, sir. And he also, fortunately, in his talk, covered many points that I might have had to blab about in my short speech. I wrote out some notes just to make sure I didn't talk for the next 28 minutes or something. I think you might want more drinks and food, so I'll do my best to keep this sort of brief. Let's see what happens. Anyhow, I thank you all for coming to this event. There are so many people who, for various reasons, illness and others, could not make it, or because they live in other countries. I could not actually invite people from Japan, but one of them actually made it over. So anyway, I'm just delighted to see you all here. Wearing this outfit, which forced the ambassador to join me, that's very kind of you. I don't wear it very often, but I wanted to show you this album cover. Back in 1980, Nippon Colombia, there weren't many foreigners doing folk song at the time, so never mind that I wasn't very good. They had me and my teacher, Tanaka Yoshio, do an album together from Colombia with Gina, also singing on this. And my teacher gave me this outfit. It's a gift. They had to really work on the gaijin size. Back in those days, in 1978, he actually gave it to me. It was very hard to find someplace to get one of these that would fit on a guy of my height. So I'm delighted to show you this picture. And luckily, To tell the truth, I'd rather, if I look at the back of my book, you won't be able to see this, although I'll put it on a counter somewhere. Here's a picture of me when I had to do a live TV broadcast in 1981 in Iwate, leading a horse. This was the Chagu Chagu Umako Festival. And I got to wear a very different kind of outfit, more folky. Kind of a weird straw hat, just a hoppy over, and almost blue jeans, but they weren't. And of course, I had fun with the horse. But they made me learn a song that I'd never sung before with 1 week's notice. So I led the horse while looking at my hand and reading the lyrics a bit, you know, on live TV, what are you gonna do? A week later, I joined Gina in England, and we've been here ever since. Yes, well, anyway, I can't begin really to name all the people and institutions that have made my career what it is. You know, it's just incredible to me how many people, I'm talking about university teachers in America and Japan in the old days, music teachers, the people who taught me many types of Japanese music in Japan, in the United States, and even here. Let's not forget the many colleagues and academics that I've known at SOAS and other universities who are here who aren't necessarily Japan connected. They're just wonderful human beings who've been part of my career in ethnomusicology. 7 syllables made it a field I had to follow. That's pretty cool. Also, many of my lovely former students are here, and that is so delightful to see you all, again, from a whole range of backgrounds and disciplines, so that's great. And of course, the various Japan-related foundations in this country and other places, the leaders of, current leaders of many of whom are here tonight. Without the funding from all of these places and support from the embassy as well, I would not have been able to do some of the field work I've done, to send students abroad occasionally on field work, to bring performers over from Japan, even to buy some instruments, some of which we'll be playing tonight, which were funded by UK-based Japan Foundation type organizations, Japanese Foundation, whatever. Good, there we go. And I really do want to thank the embassy because I know this has been a challenge. This is their most confusing ceremony like this. All these musicians coming in. And as you said, of course, I'm supposed to be a folkie, so we want it to be lively, which is why we're both being pretty lively, but we're both like that anyway. I already know that, so live with it. You know? So I thank you so much, and to Karasawa-san, wherever he is now, and his staff, and Deepika, all these people at the embassy who have worked so hard to get this working somehow. Now, almost done, I want to briefly mention, why did I get into Japanese folk music? And I want to keep this short somehow, because so many people ask me this. Well, I was a folkie in my teen years, and I used to play the banjo and guitar, and when the ambassador was in the United States, he told me he liked bluegrass music, the banjo and things, so, you know, we have a lot in common. It doesn't have to be Japanese folk. But then there I was going off to Yale University, eventually getting interested in linguistics. And my teacher, Samuel Martin there, he said, you know, kid, if you wanted to do a degree in linguistics, you could be our second undergraduate to do that. And you could do a postgrad degree with funding from the government, but not if you just study boring languages like French and German. Sorry for you French and German people here. That's what he said. He was America's leading linguist for Japanese language. And he said, here's your 4 choices if you want to get funding. You could specialize in Vietnamese, Russian, Chinese, or Japanese. And I thought, Vietnamese, what's the Vietnam War? I do not want to be in that. And, Russia, China, Cold War enemies at the time. No, thank you. Japan, that war ended 20 years ago. And we're friends with Japan now. I want Japanese. That's the truth. We knew so little about Japan, people my age at that time, 1965. It was a few years later that Japan became a world economic presence. So anyhow, and then finally I had to go off in 1972 to teach for a year at the University of Michigan, just by chance. Their Japanese linguists got ill, they needed an emergency replacement. I went off there, discovered a certain East Asian archaeology student coming to do a PhD named Gina Barnes. So I had to marry her. And then there was America's leading expert on Japanese music, William Malm. So I had to make, thanks to him, we also had a performing group doing kabuki music with Nagauta, with shamisen and flutes and drums and singing. We learned all of those, Gina with me. That got me launched into the real performance side of Japanese music. In the library, as you mentioned, tons of recordings of Japanese music, including lots of field recordings of folk songs. I learned a lot of songs before going back to Japan, where I'd spent a little while learning Japanese, but I hadn't done any music before in Japan. When I finally got back there a few years later, I learned so many songs off these recordings. It was really kind of interesting. And I was about the only weird foreigner at the time singing these songs over there. So they put me on TV and radio and stage over 50 times, 4 years. Very strange. I gotta wrap this up somehow. Let's see, where am I going to get to here? So that's how I got into Japanese stuff, and I'm still in it. Later this evening, you will experience, as you've already heard, performances by our folk song group, the So Has Been Young group, and by the London Okinawa Sanshin Kai. I should just say, at the end of this will be the very end of the evening before we're thrown out around 8:30. I hope most of you can stay, and you can join in the kachashi dancing, the free-form dancing that ends every Okinawan event. So if you do that, it doesn't matter what you do, just move it, and you're going to have some fun. So that's one thing. Anyway, besides those, at some point in the evening, Kikude will be wandering around. Kiku did a PhD at SOAS, but she also has spent years in Japan becoming a shakuhachi master. And she will be dressed as a komuso, a Buddhist wandering priest, shakuhachi player, with her straw hat on and everything. And this will be a reminder, or your first notice, that from July 30th through August 4th in London, we are going to hold the World Shakuhachi Festival. And if that means anything to you, great. If it doesn't, time to find out. There's several people involved in organizing that who are here tonight. And just for the heck of it, if you want to know more, look for them. Shakuhachi people, hold up your hands. Go ahead, just stick up a hand. Wow, they're all over the place. So you'll find them, and I'll steer you to them. Okay, that's enough on that. And finally, to finish it off is when we grab that sanshin. Over our 45 years together, Gina has joined in many of my musical activities, though I think I've only participated in one of her archaeological excavations. I think 3 hours was enough, and then I tried to bury myself out of sight, but they don't. Anyhow, to get back to your sake drinking and your sushi or whatever, we're going to sing a song from Okinawa called Tanchame. It's one that we sang on Okinawan TV in 1980 live. It wasn't live. Well, we were live. Yeah. Never mind. Okay. And it's one I learned off of a recording at Michigan First. So we're going to sing that song tonight as a first taster of our Okinawa group. And then I'm done blabbing, and it's time for you all to relax and have some fun. So if I can borrow the sanshin. Thank you, Rika. And try to play it standing up. And Gina will use her samba. And I guess we'll stand out here. And I'll try not to drop it. There's a chorus. Those of you who know this song, feel free to join in on the chorus. Those who don't, maybe don't.
As you can imagine, that's a hard act to follow. David loves music, especially Japanese music. He loves to play the shamisen and other instruments, and he loves to sing, as we know, especially minyo and Okinawa songs. We'll hear more a bit later tonight. Tonight is a Japan night, but I just wanted to mention that David also is an expert on Indonesian gamelan. He's talked about as well, so he is across Asia. Like some other music lovers I've met, David is always a bundle of overflowing energy. You understand that now. And enthusiasm, ready to sing a line or strum a few bars on the shamisen. I'm jealous because I've done Japanese theater, so I should be able to perform, but I'm useless and can't sing at all.
He's played shamisen. I met him carrying a shamisen in Kyoto like 35 years ago. Go ahead.
I'm still jealous because I can't sing. I must imagine particularly that David was, which I couldn't do, would be the star of the karaoke events, and he commands the stage for one of his favorite minyo or Okinawa songs. We first met a long time ago now, in about 1980. I was actually not so much a shamisen, but we were trying to learn Gidayu chanting, the Bunraku chanting, while I was hopeless. His enthusiasm has made him a star teacher, both in the classroom and through the various groups he's led over the years, which you've heard about in London and elsewhere. I know too that he's lectured and given demonstrations of Japanese music in as many as 16 different countries around the world. So let's raise a toast to his enthusiasm and energy that has brought Japanese music to life for so many people around the world, especially here in the UK. Kanpai. Kanpai.
I get to drink too?